I'm from Nigeria. So I'm from Nigeria, and I'm here to originally share my story with you. We're going to be discussing on the topic. Yeah, so we're going to talk about introduction. This is an introduction to the future of development, and we're going to uh, talk about how we can, drive development in our different communities and countries and society. So this is an introduction to the future of development. Please, if you have questions, if you have comments or queries, you can probably use the chat box. I'll be looking at it to make sure we are here together. And like I said, my name is Donald AK. I'm from Nigeria. An advocate, a public health change maker, and I want to, I'm here to share my story with you. So moving on to the next slide, we'll be talking about connecting the lines between advocacy, food security, investments, entertainment, and creativity. Now, I know in your mind you might be wondering that how does this connect? Advocacy, food security, investment, entertainment, and creativity. These are totally different things and different topics that we can discuss at a larger scale. But I'm going to help us connect it today to see the connecting factor of these 5 statements. Yeah. So we are going to have that conversation. Please, if you have any idea or any comment about these 5 statements, you can feel free to use the chat box. And I want this session to be a conversation session. We should all be engaged and be involved in this session, because I want it to be a conversation session. I want somebody to pick something from this session today, because I want to share my own story, and that is why I brought up this topic to help us share. Okay, so moving on to the next slide, we have to define these 5 statements. If to be able to get what we're talking about, to be able to connect it, we need to define them. All right, so we are going to do define advocacy. Advocacy is lending your voice towards changing or recommending a particular cause or policy. And please, I want this to be a conversation. Everybody should make sure we indulge in this together. So thank you. I was into defining food security. Okay, food security is a state of having reliable access to sufficient quantity of affordable, nutritious food. So we're going to paint the word affordable and nutritious. Food security is the state of having reliable access to sufficient quantity of affordable, nutritious food. So if that definition, if there's anything, I'm sure the English is totally clear. We just need to get sufficient quantity of affordable, nutritious food to be able to say we have food security. And now we're going to investment, right? Now, investment is an action or process of investing money for profit. So in other words, if there is no value for your money, it can't be said that you can't say it's investment. If you don't have a proposed value that you want for your money, you can't say it's investment. Now, even I'll go into the non-profit sector. Even when you see a funder fund your project, I'm sure they're investing because they're looking for an impact. They want to see an impact, and they're investing their money to see that impact. So when you derive that impact, you can say that funder invested their money in a good project. Okay, so that impact you derive gives the funder the satisfaction. So when it comes to for-profit business, an investor wants to get money back, maybe some share in the business, but it will always come back to money back. So investment is an action or process of investing money for profit, whether value profit, whether money profit. It is for profit. Okay, so now let's go to entertainment. Entertainment is an action of providing or being provided with enjoyment or amusement for recreation. Now, all the definitions here is my personal definition, and through my personal research, this is what I certify as definition of entertainment. And now let's go on to creativity. So creativity is creating or inventing something through imagination or original idea. This simply means it's either you create something out of nothing or you join an original idea and create something out of it. Okay, so let me maybe give an example for this. I might want to create a project that has not been created before, and then I probably say, let me use the NGO scenario, and I probably say the child factor to parent factor project. Now, my project can be monitoring the process of a child growing into an adult. So that's a project. It's a creative idea, right? It's called creativity. Now I can now join a project, say maybe a Bill Gates project, and they're reaching out to immunizing children, and I probably bring an idea to say, okay, now that we're immunizing children, I think this project can do something like the children immunization and education process. Now that's creating an idea or inventing an idea from an original idea. So I hope we understand these two things. I had to explain from the non-profit sector, but this definition reflects in our world every day. Everywhere we go, we see McDonald's, we see KFC, we see we see different things being created out of imagination into something beautiful to make sure our world is evolving, developing, which is the primary purpose of creativity. So now we're going to ask. I'm going to ask two questions to make sure that we connect these 5 statements. We're going to connect advocacy, food security, investment, entertainment, and creativity. We're going to find a connecting factor for this, right? So for us to do that, I'm going to ask 2 questions, or maybe 3 questions. Yeah. So I'm going to the next slide is going to be question 1. Okay, so I'm probably getting used to the session and the technology here, thanks to Changemaker 2.0 for this opportunity. So the first question is, what is the missing factor? What is the missing factor between advocacy, food security, entertainment, creativity, and investment? The question is, what is the missing factor between it? Because we probably cannot develop without one more thing. There's something missing here. So if you have an idea about this thing, this factor, please kindly share. So if you have a factor, if you know the missing factor, there's something missing, I just want us to do a little test of brain, just to provoke you to think about something. Whatever, there's no wrong, there's no right answer. The missing factor, if you have an idea about the missing factor, there's something missing to derive development from these 5 statements. We have something missing. If you have an idea, just put it in the comment section. Let me see. I'll just leave some minutes for that. I want us to come up with something. I want us to think about something. This is our answer. You see, innovation and technology is the missing factor to derive development. Talking about entertainment, creativity, investment, food security, advocacy, we need innovation to be included to these things to make sure that we develop, because the goal is to derive development. The goal is to derive growth. The goal is to derive freedom of expression and the right to live and exist. The goal is to serve humanity. The goal is to make life easier for humanity. That is the bigger goal, you know. So these 5 statements are supposed to drive it, but the missing factor is innovation. If you don't evolve, if you don't drive technology in whatever you do today, you quickly fade out. And I'm sure we don't want to fade out. So this is why I am presenting this to you, for you to understand that you can drive all these factors together to be able to derive development. If you want your community to develop, if you want your country to develop, these are the things you should drive. So, like, I personally picked this statement because I'm from Africa. I was born and raised here. So I want to drive these 5 statements with innovation to make sure I derive change here in Africa. So I'm talking from an angle of experience. I'm talking from an angle of act, of working on it. Okay, I'm talking from an angle of driving real change through action every day. Okay, so these are the 6 things that I've noticed that are always working together. Because if you want to develop what you do, if you want to develop where you are, if you want to make change, yeah, that's the word. If you want to make change in your society, your community, you have to be able to work with these 6 statements. And if you are focused on one, you can look for a team. You don't have to work alone. There is always an opportunity for partnership. You can look for a team that have skills in these different angles, and then you work with them. It is beautiful to always solve people's problem. It is beautiful again to always solve people's problems. So if you have the opportunity to work with a team and train everyone in regards to this 6 statement that I just made, beautiful. So adding technology to whatever you do will help you derive sustainability automatically. That's what it does. It drives sustainability. It drives more impact, because today you have to be very honest with yourself. Young people are always interested in anything technology. You talk about phones, you talk about gadgets, you talk about laptops, earbuds. I mean, even we ourselves, we know how much we need technology to connect. This is part of the need. So if technology is not added, then you probably quickly die. Your project will quickly die. But when you add technology to these 5 statements, you realize that your project will continue to evolve, because you continue to learn, you continue to make research. So it is very important that technology and innovation is put into consideration whenever you're working on a project that will drive change in your community. So I hope I hope everybody's understanding and hearing me. I'm trying to be explanatory as much as I can be, and I hope it's working. Okay, so still the chat box are open for questions and comments. So please feel free to use it. I think there are other reactions in case you want to in case you want to maybe raise your hands, questions and all of that. Please feel free to interrupt me. This is supposed to be a conversation. So moving, now that we found the answer of the missing factor, right? So we're supposed to go to the next question. Okay, so the next question is, now what I want to just put it back to our mind, that the reason why I'm asking these questions is because these are the questions that will drive change. These are the questions that will help you drive change in your local community, or in your state, or in your society, where you are, or where you live, or where you belong, or where you are born, or where you're from. So these are the questions that will provoke you to driving change. Okay, so I'm going to ask the next question. That next question is, what is the connecting factor to this 6 statement? Because We can talk about change all we want. We can talk about making change. We can talk about making impact. We can want to make impact. We can want to make change. It is okay, but there is something that we need among the 6 things that I mentioned. There is something that is very, very, very important if we really want to drive change. There's something. There's one thing that is very important if we really want to drive change, and that is what I want us to think about. What is the connecting factor? It is the connecting factor to the 6 statement that I just made. If you have an answer to that, I'll probably just leave us for some minute, maybe 1 minute. Let's think about it. What is the connecting factor between entertainment, creativity, innovation, food security, investment, and advocacy? What is the connecting factor? There's something that's connecting, that should connect the 6 of them. There's something that should connect it. So what is the connecting factor? That's the question. So I'll just leave us for 1 minute. Let's think about it. There's supposed to be a connecting factor between the 6 things. There's one out of the 6 of them that connects all 6 of them. Okay, so I'll leave us for 1 minute. Okay, there's no wrong answers, there's no right answers. We're here to share ideas, we're here to innovate, we're here to talk about how we can possibly solve our societal and community challenges that we are facing. We're here to talk about how we can solve those problems in our local society, in our local community. So there's no wrong or right answers. We're all change makers. Please, let's share ideas. I'm sure we all have something at the back of our mind about this question. So I'm going to spill the beans. Yes, I'm going to spill the beans. Okay, because whether we like it or not, there's something that we need as change makers to drive change, right? That is what we're here to talk about. Okay, so what is the connecting factor? The answer is investment. Now, investment comes in different ways. All right, in our normal society today, when we talk about investment, a lot of people think about money immediately. All right, okay, that's fine. That is a question. How does climate change impact agriculture, productivity, and food availability in Uganda? Okay, so I'll share the answer to this question. Investment comes with time. Investment comes with money. Investment comes with your network. Investment is whatever is your commitment to driving that change. Okay, so for you to derive food security, you need investment. 1, 2, you need to advocate for policy. So I'm trying to drive the connecting factor down to what connects all 6 of them. All right. So you need for you to. Okay, thank you, Pragya. Thank you. Okay, so you see, you need to be able to invest your time, your resources, your network to make sure that you are able to drive food security, to drive change in regards to food security in your local community. Now, I'm going to share my story to answer Anupma's question. So how does climate change impact agricultural productivity and food availability? And I'm going to talk from the Nigerian angle. So while I was growing up, my father was a farmer and I farmed with him. I farmed for many years and we were able to hit the local market and make some sales. We were able to produce some good products. We call them cassava and corn. We focused on cassava and corn because it's a primary food we eat here in Nigeria and most major part of Africa. Cassava and corn. We turn them to gari in Nigeria. Here we turn them to gari and fufu. We call them fufu and gari or pap. We turn the corn to pap. Pap flavor. Okay. So while I was doing all that, it came to a time where whenever there is rain, wherever there is so much rain, or our farm, you see it, some fruits will uproot. Some of the cassava are uprooted, some of the corn are bent, and they are so spoiled. And I was wondering why does this affect it? I thought water is supposed to help the corn grow. Why is it killing it? So that is the effect of climate change, right? So, okay, thank you, Kushi. I can see a question. So that is the effect of climate change. Now, this is a big problem here in Nigeria because we discovered that most of the time, because of the excess of factories and processed, food here in Nigeria, our climate change is so bad, and our forests, because of deforestation, our climate change is so bad, and it affects production of food here in this country. And today, the food is so high in the market. Purchase of food is so high in the market. Now, these are the effects of it. Climate change has affected food production in Nigeria through making sure that the food in the market, they are so high, and you can't even purchase them. Now, before, if you want to purchase food in the market, so you just go there probably with 1,000 Nigerian naira, and then you get a lot of food. But today, you go to the market with the same amount, you just realize that you can't even feed yourself, the place of people living with family. So climate change has affected Nigeria so much right now, and it is something that the government is not putting a lot of attention into, except for international funders who are coming into Nigeria to drive climate change focused project. Now, this is something that is beautiful, and this is where advocacy can come in, because we need to advocate for the government to also be interested in our climate change. So that's where it comes. So thank you, Pragya. I'm going to answer, how can small-scale farmers in developing countries be supported to adopt sustainable farming practices and ensure local food security? Now, this is a very important question. Sometime last year, I did a project on this. Educating local farmers on food security and how to make sure that they have good, not just a massive harvest, but good and healthy harvest. Now, I did this project with the Lagos State government, and we reached out to a lot of farmers here in the southwest to make sure that we reached out to them. We need to educate farmers. If you want to small-scale farmers in developing countries to be supported to adopt sustainable farming practices, you need to educate them about this. First of all, they have knowledge impairment there's a knowledge gap between the farmers and this topic. So you need to first of all educate them. Now, two is their equipment. You need to make sure they have equipment that will drive sustainable farming. And this equipment, trust me, they do not have the money to buy. So you need to do something. You need to help them to afford it. First of all, give them in a loan, as a small grant or in a loan. And then while they continue to make good production, you can get your money back from their loans. So these are the way you can support them to drive sustainable farming practices. Another thing is you need to help them drive innovative farming. Now, here's the deal. In Nigeria here, we all know that we have to farm with soil, but there are some of my colleagues that farm with just water. They are only farming with water, and they are doing massively good. Now, that is the height of innovation. That way, your products are protected, because you can farm indoors when you are farming with water. Your products are protected. Now, these are the knowledge gap that most local farmers have. They don't know these things. They don't know innovation. They don't know development. They don't know technology. All they want to do is do the traditional way and, come back to the market and sell. And they're not even looking to reach out to the larger market or the international market. No, they're only going to their small village market to sell what they're doing. Now, this will also affect food sustainability and sustainable farming, because you like I said the other time, you realize that when you don't add innovation to what you're doing, it dies automatically. It dies. The world is going to the next phase of production, of development. You need to add innovation to whatever you are doing. So these are the knowledge gap that these farmers have, which it is important that we instill it into them. I hope that answers your question, Pragya. Thank you. these 3 points will go a long way to helping farmers adopt sustainable farming practices. Yeah. So, what role does crop diversification play in enhancing food security and resilience in agricultural systems? So the thing is, crop diversification originally, I think crop diversification is a good practice, and it plays a strong role in making sure that we have inter-country, or should I say intercultural experiences. Let me put it this way. Sometime I have a friend, he is into food production, right? He works in Canada, and he too is a Cameroonian, and he took some of the products that he farmed with from Cameroon to Canada, and he drove a food production company from that product, and he produced consumables, drinks, and food, quick food. And this project made him reach out to the African community right there in Canada, and even the global community wanted to have a taste of what he was doing. This is what crop diversification, this is the role, that crop diversification play. It helps us connect interculturally to what we call food. It helps us connect interculturally to what we consume. Eat healthy foods. Food security, this way we'll be able to say, if I have access to Cameroonian food and I'm good with it, I can eat it, right? Like some Nigerians here, we eat Chinese, and some Chinese here wants to eat our food. That way, food selection will be reduced in the market. So people will purchase or patronize the local food of the market where they are. Like tourists, like migrants, they'll be able to eat the food there. That way, food security is assured. I don't know if this answers your question, but crop diversification is a beautiful practice, honestly, and I've experienced this myself firsthand. So this is something that would drive change in our society. Crop diversification, beautiful. Educating farmers, food security, beautiful. Adding technology to what you do, beautiful. It is very, very important to add technology. Everything you do, we must grow, and we must drive technology. We must drive change. So this is. I hope this answers your question, Kushi Shama. Yes. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name well. Yes. Please pardon me. Pardon me, but I try. I think I have some experience with India movies. Yeah, so I know Kuchi Kuchi with the high. Yeah, so that is beautiful. Please. So I'm so sorry if I'm not pronouncing your names properly. Yeah. So now going back to our slide, I think investment. Anupma, please. If my time, I don't know. I didn't get the time brief. Every of these 6 things that we're talking about, right? Now, if you're able to invest your time, your resources, and your network in food security, you can imagine what it will change. Now, advocacy is something that you do as a change maker, whether as a farmer, whether as a lawyer, whether as a banker. Advocacy is what we all do to be able to shape our society, to making sure that everybody is involved in what we're driving, in the change that we're driving. Everybody is okay. Let me say to drive inclusiveness. Okay, so that's what advocacy does. Advocacy helps food security to drive policies that will make sure there is food security, there is crop diversification. Advocacy helps in making sure people have access to healthy and nutritious and affordable food in our society. You see, so when you're able to invest, okay, thank you so much, Pragya. Thank you. Yes, so I'm going to round up right now. So when you're able to invest your resources, your time, you'll be able to achieve change in your society. And please, I want to plead with change makers, when you're trying to drive change, do well to also understand that there's a place to make profit. You must be able to make profit, because if you're able to create wealth, you'll be able to change your society. While you're driving change, be enthusiastic to create wealth, because creating wealth will help you make proper change in your society, because you know that without money, without funds, you have impaired actions. Your actions will be limited. So rounding up, yes. This is what I want us to think about while we round up. What part do you play or would you play in this global evolution? This is the question I want us to take home. So take your time, think about the part that you play, no matter the sector that you're in, whether in the private or the public sector. Think about the part you play in this global evolution, because there's a global evolution. I know we can all see it, it's happening right now. What part would you play to make sure that there is food security and there's change? So I'll leave you to that question and I'll move to the next slide. So in conclusion, to drive development, we must partner across all sectors and focus on generating revenue, delivering service to the global market. You see, this is why I was trying to connect investment, trying to connect food security, trying to connect advocacy, trying to connect entertainment and creativity, and then trying to connect them with innovation to make sure that we're able to drive development and partner across all sectors and focus on generating revenue.
We extend our heartfelt thanks to Donald for his valuable insights, enriching our understanding and inspiring our future endeavors. Your contribution has made this session truly impactful. Thank you everyone for gracing us with your presence today. Thanks a lot, Donald. Thank you for joining.